afternoon. Thank you all for joining us. I'm here to show support for, because this is the day before primary, people would think that I'm doing this because of the voting tomorrow. I'm actually doing what I do anyway in our community. But I am not negligent of knowing that our family, our voters with disabilities matter. They deserve a quality of life. And many of them depend on TARC for transportation. And it is important that they have their needs, the safety concerns, and everything that they're dealing with met. But I haven't just talked to drivers, we've talked to riders. Last week we met with Carrie Butler, who is the new director of TARC. And so this is an opportunity to give that collective approach of working together. There are some serious concerns of riders and drivers, of safety, of providing quality service, and we have to address that. So a main issue is MV transportation, but I want to let Marcellus Mays with the Metropolitan Disability Coalition come and talk about what those main concerns are. Understand that the advocates behind me and some around me, and some people who currently work for TARC, they can't actively speak on these issues, so they're dependent on the community to keep this issue and raise it. We know that we just can't have press conferences. We also have to take it to the boardroom and to the table. And so what we've said is that we want to see representation of community people on the TARC board, people who actually use the service, people who are former drivers, because they have a better picture of what's happening and what's going on. We also want to make sure that MV Transportation understands that although you are a national outfit, there are some local concerns that are valid, even with the third-party people that you use, that is making our Louisvillians unsafe. They're being left at bus stops or TARC's 3 stops. Their safety concerns are not addressed. They're being told that they are no call, no show when they take a little more time to come out of the building. So those are tangible things that are fixable. And then the last thing is the faulty equipment. A lot of the equipment is not able to heat or cool the buses properly, and people are really struggling to use a service that is the pillar of our community. We don't have mass transit here. All we have is TARC in our cars. So this is important that we keep this issue raised. Marcellus?
Shameka, can
Yes.
you let them use your
Yes.
mic, please?
I sure can.
Thank you.
Oh, of course it is. Right in my life. Okay. Can I put it right here?
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
Yes, I'm Marcellus Mays, and I'm president of Metro Disability Coalition. I have been dealing with TARC 3 since the early 90s. I've served on 2 contract teams here at TARC as an advocate, as a person that rides with disabilities. But this is the worst contract that this community and the Louisvillians and surrounding areas, southern Indiana, Bullitt County could ever have, because it does not allow us to have proper checks and balances that we should have in order to have adequate service. Are there some good vendors? Yes, there are some good people that can provide services, but TARC itself is the best at moving people in this community. We don't need to have a company like MV Transit. We got rid of them before here in Louisville, and there was a reason why we terminated the contract previously. They knew that they should not have brought this company back here. They're still now bringing them back. They've allowed them to have control of customer service, scheduling, providing maintenance for the vehicles, and routing and everything without the proper oversight. And people are, things that don't show up in the statistical data is that, like myself, a person with 4 bags and a case of water being left in Indiana, no way home, and nobody to check on us. Person running out of oxygen, waiting on a TARC 3 vehicle, and a person just a week or 2 ago whose parents had to rent a U-Haul to get them from a location over in Indiana when they was going less than 5 miles from their home here in Louisville. Those are things that should not be happening. A multi-million-dollar contract, the emphasis is that we employ Louisvillians and Kentuckians. There are plenty of people that would work if you pay them a living wage here in this community. You don't have to go to San Francisco, Dallas, and places to get contractors. We just need people here to be concerned about people. I met with Carrie Butler. I met when she first came to Louisville. We tried to set up a meeting with us. She thought we were setting her up and hung the phone up. And I just met with her with the attorney that was a former blind judge, David Holton himself, and then Dr. Arthur Patterson, that used to be over the Human Relations Commission, and all that, the chair of that. And we tried to work out things. We tried to say the best thing that Louisville needs now is to try something innovative, different, and that is to bring it inside, coordinate this service, so we as customers and drivers don't have to wonder who we have to go to when we have a crisis. We got police officers on a routine basis transporting TARC 3 customers, house drivers, and the transit authority does not have a crisis plan to go get people when they leave. And they leave it up to us. We have to go pay for Ubers, Lyfts, and all kinds of things, call somebody to try to come and get us. And this shouldn't be happening. Carrie Butler's paid almost $200,000 a year. She is paid to make it happen. It's not my responsibility or anybody out here to figure this out. The mayor we need to have a no confidence vote, which we sent the Metro Council a list of our grievances and concerns, and we expect for them to address that. We were at a couple of Metro Council meetings ago, and they wanted to know our concerns, and we did forward them to them. The mayor process of reviewing, and that at this time, but Carrie Butler already knows the issues. She refused to make the decisions that she needs to make a difference in this community. She said she was going to keep the former executive director's bad contract, which Ferdinand Risco and a lot of the leadership here at TARC came up with, and she said that that's the best that she's going to do, and she was going to keep that no matter what happened. So what did they do? They ran out and got a lot of other vendors, but it doesn't make any difference how many other contracts you develop if the plan is bad. The plan is bad because you're still leaving people in crisis, and you're not concerned about people that are being removed off of dialysis early. And then we have a number of veterans in our group who have served this country, and they deserve better. They deserve better than what they're getting right now from this contract here in Louisville. That's a $118 million contract. Carrie Butler and the mayor himself ought to be ashamed of himself for allowing this to continue to happen. We need true leadership. We need reorganization here at TARC, new leadership, and we need it now.
Thank you, Marcellus.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
So just to be clear, Marcellus with the Metro Disabilities Coalition wants to make sure that TARC brings in TARC 3 contract and runs it themselves, right?
Right.
That at one point in time, TARC ran the TARC 3 contract. And then since then, they've had all kinds of contractors who also hire subcontractors like Z-Trip and others. And the quality of service continues to go down. That is the main issue and the safety concerns. Marcellus also rides TARC 3 and was left. And because there's limitations on how many grocery bags and things that they can bring, but they don't have a crisis plan. And like he said, often LMPD officers or their friends or people who just got off work are going and picking people back up after they have been left by TARC 3 subsidiaries or the TARC 3 people, right? Okay, do any of you want to say something before you want to step up here, ma'am? And then we'll take some questions. Whenever you're ready.
Hi, my name is Janice Rockwell, and I'm a member of the Metro Disability Coalition. And also, I am a TARC 3 rider. As Marcellus spoke and said, this should going out, if they go to the show, they need to get back home. If he goes to pick up some water, he needs to get back home. If I want to make and schedule a doctor's appointment, I want to know that I'm going to get there, but more than that, that I can get back home. And so many people are left at these appointments, and it puts the people who work there in positions to have to stay, and they have their families to go home to, but they have to stay, or they're left concerned that they cannot leave, that they have to leave a disabled person that's in a wheelchair or on a cane, and they have to leave them. Why are we putting more people are suffering than just the riders? The family members are suffering also. As Marcella spoke and said, the riders that have the wheelchairs, everybody can put their wheelchair in a small vehicle. They make it with the person in, but they cannot put the wheelchair in. And then these modes of transportation, as far as wheelchairs are concerned, they cost a lot of money. And they leave them out there for the rain or in the elements. It's so much going on with this. And we need to do something about it. Look, this TARC needs to do something about their transportation system. Not just TARC 3, but all of it. That's what I have to say. Thank you. Mike? Uh-oh.
Sir, did you want to say anything? Okay, you said it on the sign, right? So, okay, thank you, sir. You want to come up here?
Disrespect from this company and service. I have been left several times on no shows, strung out and stranded. I am tired of the disrespect, the being undervalued and marginalized by this company. They need to bring in a new plan for this company. We deserve better than this. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you hear the biggest message is that people with disabilities deserve a quality of life, and that includes TARC 3, that includes any services they need to access. Do you have any questions before we end this?
Have you had meetings with the TARC administration about your concerns as a candidate for mayor, Shameka, and what kind of response have you gotten?
We had a meeting, myself and Dre had a meeting with Carrie Butler last week. I will say that her team reached out to set up a meeting with us to understand a lot of the people in the mayoral forums have been talking about fair, free TARC. And so she wanted to break that down and what that looks like. But then also we had met with the Metro Disabilities Coalition and other riders and drivers who told us that there's other problems with pay, there's problems with hours, but the biggest concern is the safety concerns for those with disabilities who are experiencing this while they're using TARC 3. And the training, extended training is needed to make sure that it's a clear door-to-door service, making sure that people are given at least a 5 to 10 minute window to be able to come out of the buildings, to be able to get into the TARC, so it's not reported as a no call, no show. If you have a disability, you need more accommodations. And that's why this is here. And so I was really, really concerned. My mother also rides TARC, and I want to make sure that anybody that rides TARC, because that's all we have for public transportation, get everything that they need out of that. So yes, and then we did let Carrie know that we were having this. We didn't want to blindside her, and she was going to send a representative down. But TARC has had a lot of internal issues. They've had a lot of turnover. They've had a lot of changes in leadership. And so we want to make sure that our millions with disabilities that access TARC 3, that their services don't continue to decline no matter what TARC is going through internally.
Nelson, questions? Good. Any final thoughts?
Anybody wants anything else?
Well, what we really want to again see is things change. I met with Carrie them several times, and nothing has changed. And I also see her in meetings at the Metro Council. Her message has been consistent. She's not going to do anything different. So my thing is with her is we need a no confidence vote in Carrie's leadership, and this community needs to move on, get new leadership in here, somebody that's going to do it the way it should be done. If that's not her, we need someone else, and we need it now.
So, Dre just reminded me that in our meeting, Carrie said that TARC isn't able to handle TARC 3 as well as MV is, but we know that MV has problems. I actually Googled MV, I looked them up, I've talked to different riders and drivers, and they said that even across the nation, it has a bad reputation. So we cannot accept that. If it's better to go back to the drawing board and to figure out what we need, and that's exactly what we need to do. We cannot just accept that MV, who has been granted this contract for 5 years, what year are we on this contract?
Second year.
This is the second year of a very big contract, so we have to get this together. We have to do it right. There's too many allegations of abuse of time, wage theft, riders not being safe. We got to do something about that. Now, I think that and employees not being safe. I think that the best thing to do is to come back to the drawing board, make sure that the Metro Disabilities Coalition is there, as long as riders and drivers, to be there to help deal with these issues and make a plan of action. And anything else? Did I miss anything?
You did it all.
All right. Well, thank you. And thank you all for doing this and giving us your time.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Shameka.
Thank you.